tips for folks who are growing in their careers, maybe just starting or have some sweat equity that they put in, but they want to gain access to new networks of people that are ultra successful? What would be your advice? Because one of the things that I am very mindful of is when I come across people who are of tremendous influence and value, they are often being asked, right, to do things all the time.
I think this is actually advice you could give really well, right? Because I think you do it well. You say, hey, I have questions I want to ask you. Can we meet for this specific time? Here's what I want to talk about, right? Like, it's not a, hey, can we hang out sometime? Which is like, oh my gosh, how is that 2 hours? Is that 8 hours? And I think so then you find those people who want to be helpful and you ask them very tactical. You came with a notebook of questions. Like, I have a list of stuff we need to get through. But it makes me realize that you're very serious, right? You don't want to hang out with me.
I mean, I do.
Yeah, and it's not like, I'm going to go to her house and drink wine.
Right.
It's more like, here's what I need to get out of it. I'm getting access to some information, so here's what I need to walk away with. And I think that is the best advice, right? When you join a lot of organizations, people go to conferences and events and mixers, and you go up to someone and you say, hey, listen, I really liked your book about blah, or I really love this article, or I love whatever, right? It's doing the homework and then saying, I would love 15 minutes to pick your brain about X. And it has to really be that you want that information. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's like, I just want to have a photo with you because, oh my gosh, like, that's great too, take a photo. But I think people respect when you say, I'm not going to waste your time. But you have to put yourself in those opportunities to rub elbows with those folks and be interesting and have something, to add.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that make sure those questions aren't things that they can easily find out on their own?
Yeah, yes. I think I've never really had that issue. I've usually people who are trying to understand something. So it's not something that's like Googleable, like you could have just Googled that. What road did you live on when you were in high school?
Right.
It's more of a, how did you navigate this? How should I think about this? That kind of stuff is not really, something you can Google. And I think that is, I just think being very tactical is really worth it.
Mm-hmm. And do you think timing plays a role in this? Because folks are constantly being asked for information, right? They want their IP, essentially. And so folks have to choose who they're going to give that time to. And ultra successful, busy people, family folks, like, they don't just have time. So how do you stand out to actually get them to want to help you?
I always felt that being a good mentee made you stand out. There's nothing more frustrating than giving somebody advice and they just clearly don't take it. If you're talking about like the workplace where you can see, if you say to somebody, listen, I think a really good strategy is come in early, and they're still late 20 minutes you're just like, well, then I just don't need to have any more conversations with you because this is basic advice and you're not, so I like the person who says, I took your advice and I really found this and this and this. Can I now follow up with this meeting? Like that actually, I think, makes it somebody who's worth investing in. And I think the way to stand out is to be worth investing in.
Mm. But how do you prove that when you meet someone at a networking event? How do you?
Yeah, again, I think it's making your ask very small, and very, I'll give you an example. A young woman wanted to pick my brain about being a filmmaker. I said, absolutely. At the end, I said, she had a very interesting job. And I said, oh, my daughter's interested in this. She's in college. Would you chat with her? She was like, absolutely. Right. Like, she was so helpful. And she could have said, oh my God, no, I'm so busy or whatever, or I don't even like this job, whatever. Mm-hmm. She understood. She's more likely to now get in a relationship with me because she's taking a call from my kid who's in college trying to figure out what her next steps should be. So when I worked in a newsroom, I always liked to, make sure that I was helping people so that, if the 6 o'clock news producer needed something, even if it was coffee or whatever, right? I had a service and then I could say, could you read my scripts? You can't just march up and ask people favors. You sort of, in some circumstances have to be the person who's helped people out.
Adding some value.
Absolutely. It's harder in networking events when you're meeting somebody cold. But, I got to tell you, most of the time I will give people my number. I'll say, you should call me. You should text me. Most people don't.
Really?
Almost never. And I'll tell them, I travel a lot. So if I'm traveling, sometimes it's really hard for me to keep up with the emails or the text. Like, if I don't want to talk to you, I literally will tell you to stop calling me. I will say, never call me again. So until that moment, you should feel free to text me. I'm good on text. I'm fast. I'm happy to have that Almost never. And then someone will say to me, I was going to, but, or you didn't answer me back. And I'm like, well, I literally have been in Haiti for a week and a half. Like,
yes.
So that always surprises me.
So 3 mega nuggets. Make sure you're prepared.
Always.
Do your homework in advance. Have a small ask. See how you can add value.
Always.
Off the bat. And make sure you follow up if someone extends their help to you. Like, follow through.
Always. And I'm telling you, most people do none of those things. So the good news is the way to stand out is to do those things. Mm-hmm. Because most people don't. Mm-hmm. They just don't. Mm-hmm. The number of people I've given some kind of basic advice, literally the equivalent of, I found 9 o'clock start really means be in at 8:30. Like, be getting your coffee at 8:30 so you are well at your desk by then, before your 9 o'clock start. And, it's just hard for people to change habits, so they just don't do it.